Welcome back, everybody. I'm Roberto Cabrera with Brown Harris Stevens here in Manhattan, where I've specialized for nearly 28 years now. And this is your monthly market report for January 2026. So what's really going on? Actually, first, is anyone talking about the mayor? No one. We actually had a sales meeting 2 days ago, and we were 40 minutes in before his name was even mentioned. And it was merely in a passing reference. But seriously, the only ones who are talking about the mayor are the people who are not actually transacting in the marketplace, the people who don't live here, the outsiders, the spectators, the looky-loos. Those who are actually engaged in this marketplace, whether they're buying or they're selling, they're just focused on the task at hand. Now, could some issues arise? Sure. But let's put that into perspective. We've dealt with the financial crisis and a pandemic, and I think we're just doing fine. Does anyone actually think that the mayor could be worse than those events? Anyhow, like I said before, let's move on. So again, where are we? Well, considering both the median and the average asking prices, we're up 1%, maybe 2% year on year. Why is that? It's driven primarily because of constrained inventory, which is down approximately 4% in the year. Now, that doesn't mean that there's nothing to sell or buy, but it does mean that we're at about a 10-year low in inventory. Now, something that's particularly of interest is new development condo inventory, which has been contracting with no improvement in sight. Brown Harris Stevens Development Marketing told The Real Deal it projects an average of just over 1,300 units to come online in each of the next 2 years, and that is less than the total number of contracts signed this past year. Now that's wow. Think about that. The projection is that only 1,300 new development units will come on in the next 2 consecutive years, which is less than the total number of contracts signed over the last year. A year, 2025, which is considered dull for new development. And look, although there's evidence of improvement ever since the rate spike of nearly 4 years ago, the market pulse, as exhibited in this chart from Urban Digs, shows a market that is still in a neutral zone, as they perfectly describe it. A period of activity. That said, there's tremendous optimism in the air. Unless we experience something abnormal, like the pandemic in 2020, or the war in Ukraine and skyrocketing mortgage rates in 2022, or even the anxiety of tariffs and Liberation Day of 2025, we are anticipated to have a very strong year. But let's lay it out. 1, the economy is strong, and it's going to be led by Wall Street, which is, according to the New York Comptroller's economic report, is projecting bonuses to be $49.7 billion. That's 8% higher than the record that was set in 2024. 2, there's been a marked improvement in sentiment as a result of more favorable mortgage rates, currently in the low 6% range as opposed to the 8% we saw 27 months ago. 3, not 4. 3. Inventory should improve. Sellers who've been waiting to sell for years are preparing their properties for market. And 4, mortgage applications are up, meaning that buyers are getting suited up. They're getting ready to play. And yes, the data tells us a mixed story with different factors favoring each side, the buyers and the sellers. What that means is the market remains fair, taking into consideration, of course, the tie goes to the runner concept I introduced last month, meaning that the chronic constraint on inventory tends to lean the leverage in the favor of the sellers. But so both inventory and demand will improve. The question is, which force will prevail? Will supply outpace demand or demand outpace supply? We'll see. But I'm betting that demand will be the stronger catalyst here. One thing's for sure, the increased deal activity will put upward pressure on prices. So that's sort of where we are. Of course, There are nuances to all of this. So like I always say, if you want to chat, that's why I'm here. And until next time, have a great end of January. Watch lots of football. And let's go shopping.